Anthony F. Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. My lecture today is Buddhism Explains Racial Disparity of African Americans Dying from the Coronavirus. When it comes to the Buddhist religion, we are not only the Black Buddhist Voice of America, we are the Black Buddhist Voice of the world. 2020 makes our 50th year as Buddhists. Now, we were the first to create the first and oldest Black Buddhist website, and at the time of this lecture, I have over 600 videos on YouTube, and while I have not advertised, we have over 10,000 people who have subscribed to our Anthony Elmore video channel. Now, I am a 5-time world karate kickboxing champion, and I am Tennessee's first independent theatrical filmmaker. Now, when it comes to African American issues, I am that never heard before Black Buddhist voice. So we're clear. Regarding Buddhism, I am in no way associated with any Asian Buddhist. You will never find me on any mountain like an Asian meditation. For us, Buddhism is education and not meditation. Now, if you look at our Proud Black Buddhist website, you will see a picture of Tina Turner from the February 15th, 1979 issue of Jet magazine. Tina Turner is not only the first documented Black Buddhist in America, Tina Turner is the only Black person respected by the Black community as a Buddhist. There is no male anywhere in the world who is respected as a Buddhist. We're trying to change that. Now, again, my lecture is Buddhism Explains the Racial Disparity of African Americans Dying from the Coronavirus. You see, a Center for the Disease Control study of the virus found that 33% of those who have been hospitalized are African Americans, even though that racial group makes up only 13% of the population of the United States. Meanwhile, 45% of those in the hospitals from the virus are white and non-Hispanic, even though that group makes up more than 60% of the U.S. population of the world. So in various cities, you will find a disparity between African Americans dying from the coronavirus as opposed to white people. Now, there's an adage noted by African Americans that state, when America gets a cold, African Americans get pneumonia. It has been the culture, history, expectations, and the reality for many African Americans to suffer greater in any tragedy than white people or the greater population. Our lecture today explains how African Americans, via adopting Black Buddhist teachings, can improve the life and circumstances of African American people. Please be clear that we hold that African Americans can improve our circumstances via Black Buddhist teachings. A Black Buddhist teachings means that we African Americans culturally use the Buddhist practice, the Buddhist power, the Buddhist law, the Buddhist science to improve ourselves. The answer for African Americans is to become proud Black Buddhists. So we are clear. What is being taught as Buddhism Asian culture and not the true Buddhism or the highest teachings of the Buddha. We at the Proud Black Buddhist World Association do not practice Asian culture, but we practice the teachings or the true teachings of Buddhism. You see, the Buddha, that's Shakyamuni of India, and the people who originally practiced Buddhism and introduced Buddhism to the world were all black people who developed their potential. Now, in regards to black people worldwide, the most significant and clear in ancient black history is our black Buddhist history. You see, the most important teachings that the black Buddha Shakyamuni left to black people worldwide was expressed in the Buddha's last sermon called the Nirvana Sutra. You see, we who are proud black Buddhists follow the teachings of the 13th century black Japanese sage Nichiren Shonin. Now, Nichiren taught his disciples via letters. Those letters were compiled into a book, kind of like the Bible, we call the Gosho. Now, in the Gosho, Nichiren explains how the Buddha Shakyamuni taught us the correct teachings of Buddhism. Now, we African Americans are being affected by the coronavirus in a racially disparity more than the general population. Our African American preachers use the Christian Bible to give solutions as to how we African Americans should react to racial disparity in regards to the coronavirus. Now, the Gosho, again, the Gosho are the teachings of Nichiren, and Nichiren teaches the teachings of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Now, there is a Gosho from one called the Selection of Time, and this is how it tells us or teaches us about Buddhism. It says, quote, Shakyamuni Buddha laid down a rule for future conduct when he said that we should rely on the law and not upon persons, unquote. You see, further it says, Bodhisattva Nagarjuna says that one should rely on treaties that are faithful to the sutras, but not on those that distort the sutras. Tentai states that when that which accords with the sutras is to be written down and made available, but no faith in anything in word or meaning fails to do so. And the great teacher Dingyo says, depend on the preachings of the Buddha. Do not put faith in traditions handed down orally. You see, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to know the true teachings of the Buddha, then the way to follow the true teachings of the Buddha is listen and practice the words of the Buddha himself. You see, we African Americans during this time and after the coronavirus can look into the teachings of the Buddha Shakyamuni. You see, in the last 8 years of his life, the Buddha Shakyamuni intoned the word or the phrase Myoho Renge Kyo. You see, Myoho Renge Kyo is the life that the Buddha, or it is the law that the Buddha asks us to rely upon. You see, the Buddha is clear. Do not rely upon any persons. Don't rely upon any organization. Don't rely upon any people, but rely only on the law. And the phrase Myoho Renge Kyo is the law that Shakyamuni asks us to rely on. You see, Myoho Renge Kyo is the title of the Lotus Sutra, or the highest of the Buddhist teachings. Now the question is, how could Myoho Renge Kyo or chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo protect us from the coronavirus? You see, the word Myo means correct. The word Ho means law. The word Renge, this is a symbol for the lotus flower, where we see the flower and the seed, which represents the law of cause and effect, Renge. Now, the word Kyo means not only the teachings of the Buddha, but the word Kyo means all the teachings of the universe, or in essence, it means to dispel delusion. You see, the way the Buddha taught us to deal with the coronavirus, or any challenge, is to rely on the practice of cause and effect teachings. You see, cause and effect is represented by the lotus flower, whereas we see the flower and the seed. This represents cause and effect. The word Kyo means not only the Buddhist teachings, but the word Kyo means all the teachings of the universe. In a simple way, the word Kyo means to dispel delusion. Via Buddhism, we become wise people. Now, in regards to Myoho Renge Kyo, Nichiren, he added the Pali word. Now, Pali was the language that the people of that time spoke. And he added a Pali word, and that word is called Namu. Now, Namu, there are many definitions of Namu or Nam, but the way we use it, it means to awaken. You see, we awaken to the correct law of cause and effect teachings. Now, our master is the law of cause and effect teachings. This is who we follow. We don't follow some Japanese in Japan. We don't follow any white people or black people. We follow the law of cause and effect teachings. You see, let me explain about the coronavirus. You see, viruses are microscopic parasites, generally much smaller than bacteria. They lack the capacity to thrive and reproduce outside the host body. Just as we want to live and thrive, a parasite wants to live and thrive. See, parasites are important to our ecological system. What impact does a parasite have in an ecosystem? You see, we now recognize that parasites influence species coexistence and exploitation by altering competition, predation, herbivory, and these effects can in turn influence ecosystems processes. Parasites and pathogens act as an ecosystem engineers. They alter energy budgets and nutrient cycling and influence biodiversity. You see, let me explain. The coronavirus in a black language. See, the coronavirus is like these jive-time suckers who come into your house. Little bitty suckers, microscopic, come into your house, which is your body. And those suckers come in there and they have millions of babies and they go to eat and living and potting and jiving and they go to eating you up and they begin to kill you. So what happens internally in your body, you got these jive-time suckers, unwanted guests that comes into your body, comes into your house, and they come and they eating and partying and having babies and drinking and jiving and smoking dope and all that good stuff. You got these soldiers in your body called antibodies. And antibodies is the defense mechanism that comes in and they are protecting you against these little suckers or these parasites in your body. So there's a big war going on in your body. So your body is fighting, your body is struggling, you are sick, you got a fever, you there because your body is internally fighting. Now, what what happens in America is that while this fight is going on the inside, you also have a fight that's going on the outside called racism and white supremacy. It's kind of like an IED that they used during the war in Iraq. You see, in the war in Iraq, the Americans had a different kind of war. You see, President Bush came in there and he went to Iraq and had this Air Force outfit on. He said, mission accomplished. Well, yeah, it was a mission accomplished for him. But now the people in Iraq, they said, to hell with that. They had these improvised explosion devices that can go in there and blow you up. Well, that's what's happening in America, in that when it comes to African Americans, you are in a war. They're using IEDs. That's like racism and white supremacy. You don't have health care. You don't have a system to protect you, yet we all Americans. But what happens is, it's just like in the Iraq War, America had to retool and build up to protect our soldiers. Well, what happens is, we, in regards to the coronavirus, we African Americans are like sitting ducks. We have to fight some IEDs, and we don't have the support. You see, Nichiren Shonin writes about this in The Ghost Show. Now, The Ghost Show is called Persecutions Befalling the Buddha. And this is what Nichiren advises us to do. He says, quote, now this is in regard to Buddhism. He says, quote, strengthen your faith day by day, month after month. Should you slacken in your resolve even a bit, devils will take advantage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, in America, in our lives, we have devils. You see, racism and white supremacy is a devil. It is an evil. It is a cancer in our society. You see, we as proud black Buddhists, our goal is to build a better America. You see, it was Dr. Martin Luther King who helped, and it was these African Americans, it's us black people, who made America live up to its creeds, to make a society equal for all people, better for all people. It was the African Americans who fought against racism and the Jim Crow laws. We have to stand up, and we have to make an America better for everyone. This is what the Buddhist teaching is about. See, the Buddhist teachings tell you don't slacken in your faith. Day by day, month by month, devils will attack you. You see, if you do not fight racism and white supremacy, it will take advantage. Now, in regards to African Americans fighting COVID-19, is it better for African Americans if you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, Hindu, Buddhist? For example, I was watching the news and they had this white preacher down in Florida. They said practice social distancing. And they asked this white woman, wasn't she not concerned? And she says, I am not worried because I am protected by the blood of Jesus. You see, in regards to tracking of the COVID-19 to the African American community, they found that at a funeral in Albany, Georgia, a person affected a family member. The family member in turn went to church, and then they infected the folk in church, and all the folk in the church went out and affected the whole community. You see, let us get back to Namo Myoho Renge Kyo. You see, or to awaken to the correct law of cause and effect teachings. You see, in regard to COVID-19, is it better to rely solely on religious faith, or can we rely on the correct law of cause and effect teachings? You see, in regards to African Americans dying in disproportionate number from the coronavirus, there is one clear-cut cause and effect reason why more African Americans are dying from COVID-19 than white people. You see, can we blame racism? Yes. Can we blame white supremacy? Yes, we can. Now, are white people solely responsible for the disparity? Hell no. You see, let us provide you with a Buddhist explanation in regards to the racial disparity of black and white deaths in regard to the coronavirus. You see, the Buddhist religion can explain the racial disparity in one word. That word is called karma. The word karma means cause and effect. The question is, how do we African Americans change our karma? See, Nichiren teaches us that we create karma in 4 ways. The word is words, thoughts, actions, and deeds. Whether you believe it or not, words have a power. We can listen to the words of Dr. Martin Luther King and become inspired. An African American can come to you and say, "How you doing, my nigga?" At the same time, a white person can say the word nigger, and something will just go down into you because we find that offensive. Words do have power. Now, the word or the phrase, "Namu Myoho Renge Kyo," is the essence. It is the word. It is the essence of everything in the universe. It is the universal consciousness. It is the greatest power of the universe, because the greatest power of the universe is the correct law of cause and effect. Now, whether you believe it or not, let us deal with the absolute reason for the cause and death of African Americans based on the coronavirus. Let us get into it. What is it that more African Americans are dying from the coronavirus more than white people? What is the cause and effect circumstance? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The absolute reason for the more cause of death in the African American community than any other cause is heart disease. While heart disease is the leading cause of death for all Americans, heart disease developed earlier, and deaths from heart disease are higher in black people due to, in part, to risk factors such as high blood pressure, obesity, and diabetes. You see, we African Americans have the highest rate of blood pressure than any other group in the world. Because we African Americans suffer from high blood pressure, we have more strokes, heart attacks, diabetes, obesity, blindness, cancer, asthma than any other group in America. While most of us cannot afford to go to the doctor, and while we do not have health insurance, let me be clear. The absolute and best insurance that African Americans can get is cause and effect teachings. we have the power inside of ourselves to make better causes in regards to our health that will produce better effects in the African American community. Diet, exercise, and lifestyle is better than any insurance policy that we black people cannot afford to buy. Our best insurance is in our minds. Our best insurance is in our hearts. It's in the causes and effects that we make. Just off the top, let me explain how African Americans adopting Black Buddhism can help the African American community. It is scientific fact. It's a scientific fact. It is an absolute fact that meditation can lower your blood pressure. Unknown even to most Buddhists is the fact that chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo is a form of meditation. And it's a science that proves that meditation can lower your blood pressure, even if for no reason at all. Even if I'm not asking you to stop going to church, I'm not asking you to not stop believing in Jesus or Allah. But what we're saying do is that we have to take control of our own health. We have to take control and lower our blood pressure. We got to become better, healthy people. And chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, Tunisko Hanzan, chanting, making chanting and the practice of Buddhism a part of your lifestyle, you can lower your blood pressure. You don't have to take blood pressure medicine. Furthermore, blood pressure medicine over time becomes poison. It will kill you as fast as not having any blood pressure medicine. In fact, blood pressure medicine for African Americans does not work. We cannot take these beta blockers. We cannot take this blood pressure medicine. It works on us different than it works on white people. But what we do have that doesn't cost you any money, you can chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. You can practice Buddhism. You can chant and you can bring your blood pressure down through chanting, through practicing the Buddhist teachings. Now, you see, research knows that meditation or chanting appears to calm activity in the sympathetic nervous system, known to narrow the blood vessels in response to stress, and increase activity in the parasympathetic nervous system, known to promote the widening of the blood vessels. Now, please understand that we African Americans live in a racist America via the underlying issues of white supremacy, racism. These racist conditions cause undue stress, whereas our nervous system narrows the blood vessels. And these narrow blood vessels, whether we know it or not, we got this high blood pressure because you're living under the stress. You see, in addition to lowering our blood pressure, we awaken to the law of cause and effect teachings. Please understand that under the racist Trump administration, the light is shined only on the disparity of the death of African Americans with coronavirus. You see, in regards to Trumpism, it is positive to show that the coronavirus is overwhelmingly killing African Americans. Now, white racists, those white people who are racist, who believe in white supremacy, man, they are overjoyed. They said, boy, the coronavirus is killing them niggers. And as long as it's killing them niggas, killing more niggas than white folks, and we getting rid of niggas, they happy. But they're not telling you that at the time of this lecture, we got 3,600 white folk through nursing homes. This coronavirus is causing havoc all over. Donald J. Trump did not respond. We did not practice social distancing, and boy, these white folk who love Donald Trump, they love him to death because he is killing more white people than the coronavirus is killing us, because there are more white people in America. We're only 14% of the population. So a lot of white people getting killed. Their mamas and their daddies and the people in these nurses' homes, they're getting killed, and they love Trump to death. Now, what is important is many African Americans, due to our jobs, social distancing, and many of us will be exposed to coronavirus, chanting Myoho Renge Kyo uplifts your spirit. Do you realize that fear can give you a heart attack or cause stress or run your blood pressure up? Chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, studying and practicing Buddhist teachings, you can bring down your blood pressure even in the midst of a racist society. Through chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Buddhism is education, not meditation. Do the education of understanding the correct law, or awakening to the correct law of cause and effect teachings, we can change not only ourselves, but we can change our nation. We can make a better America. What does it mean to practice the Buddhist teachings? You see, practicing the Buddhist teachings means we practice science, or respect of the law of cause and effect. Nichiren writes in the Go-Sho, and the Go-Sho is called On Attaining Buddhahood in This Lifetime, and Nichiren writes, quote, nevertheless, even though you chant and believe in Myoho Renge Kyo, if you think the law is outside yourself, you are embracing not the mystic law, but an inferior teaching. Inferior teaching means those other than this Lotus Sutra, which are all expedient and provisional. You see, ladies and gentlemen, although you may go to church, and even if you go to church, you can still chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you can still be a Buddhist. There's nothing in the Buddhist teachings that says you can't go to church, you can't believe in Jesus. Just chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, take on the Buddhist teachings, because it is a science. Learn science. You see, although you go to church, you praise the Lord, you're educated, have a good job, you live in the suburbs of white America, and you as an African American still face the genetic African American disease of high blood pressure. You may have the misfortune of a divorce, or you get caught up so much that you add on a few pounds. Sometimes our life does not allow us to get into the gym, or our life does not allow us to take on healthy diets. One of the greatest causes of high blood pressure is depression. When you chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo and you practice the Buddhist teachings, see, you tie into the universal consciousness. When you sit here and you chant Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, you are tied into the universe. You ain't black, you ain't white. What you are an entity. You are part of the universe, and the universe is a part of you, and you can lift up your spirits. You can become a better person. You can become a better you. You see, we explained that Buddhism is education and not meditation. See, the practice of Black Buddhism means adopting scientific principles. You see, we African Americans adopt the correct causes to get the correct effects. For us to improve our health means to change our lifestyle. We put into our minds, or what we put into our minds, manifests in our body, and it manifests in our lives. Let us get the facts straight, and we want to talk about the facts. See, they ain't got nothing to do with the religion of Buddhism, but let's talk facts, let's talk science. Now, African Americans are the most obese group in America. Now, listen to this. 4 out of 5 Black women suffer from being overweight or obese. People who are overweight are more likely to suffer high blood pressure, high levels of blood fat, diabetes, LDL cholesterol, all risk factors for heart disease and stroke. This is the fact. African Americans are less likely to engage in physical activity compared to whites and non-Hispanic whites. You see, we African Americans have the poorest diet and lifestyle in America. We're overweight, we eat bad, we live bad. Black Buddhism is education. And what do we mean by Black Buddhism? We mean that we as a people have to adopt a lifestyle. Now, what the white folk do is one thing. What the Asians do is another thing. But we need to adopt a lifestyle that's going to bring down this high blood pressure. You need a Black Buddhism. Can't no Black folks sit down and talk about some meditation and quiet meditation? How many times you go around some Black folk and you talk about some quiet? Black folk like to make noise. Now, that is a Buddhism. And there is a teaching where you can make some noise. You can chant Namu, Myoho Renge Kyo. And you can chant and chant and chant, and you can feel good, you can feel better, you can bring that blood pressure down, but through chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo instead of the Buddhist teachings. You're devoting yourself to the correct. You are awakening the correct law of cause and effect teachings. Now, I challenge you to go to Ghetto USA. You will see overweight women and people engaged in impure diets. They will go, I don't care where you go, a sister will go anywhere to find her some hair, some weave, and some nails, and you tell me you cannot find no good food, yet you go into the hood and the sister got some clothes. Where the hell those sister get these clothes at? You say we don't have the money. Go to a concert and look at African Americans. Look at the clothes they wear. Man, we got some clothes and some shoes and some things and some jewelry. Where we get this stuff from? Just as you can go out and get some weave, you can go out and get some nails, you can also get a better diet. You can get some better food. We develop ourselves so much on the outside that we forget what goes on the inside, and what you put on the inside of your body, what you put into your mind is going to reflect into your society. It's going to reflect into your life. And what COVID-19 has brought us Black people is the reality that we must change ourselves. Now, the absolute best way to deal and understand coronavirus is not blind religious faith, but understanding and awakening to the correct law of cause and effect teachings regarding the coronavirus. The coronavirus operates via laws and principles. It is a parasite that has to live in the cells of others. While we cannot see this virus, we understand that it transmits from person to person, from objects to person. If a person touches a doorknob, and you touch that doorknob, and you don't wash your hands, you can catch the virus. Now, chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo not only strengthens your life condition. When you chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you are awakening. You can't see the antibodies in your life, but when you awaken your spirit, it is that spirit, it is that life that gives you the strength and the courage to carry on. It's so hard, it's so tough, but you have to strengthen the gods. You have to strengthen your life. You have to strengthen your body. Otherwise, your body will be so weak that you can't fight it. Anyway, let me end this lecture with the words of the 13th century black Buddhist sage Nichiren Shonin. Now, there's a Go show that he writes, and Nichiren writes, he says, strengthen your resolve more than ever. Ice is made of water, but it's colder than water. Blue dye comes from the indigo, but when something is repeatedly dyed in it, the color is better than that of the indigo plant. Now, the Lotus Sutra remains the same, but if you repeatedly strengthen your resolve, your color will be better than that of others, and you receive more blessings than others do, than they do. You see, the Buddhist chants make you stronger. Via the Buddhist faith, it's kind of like an athlete who gets up every day and runs and strengthens himself. You strengthen your spirit. You strengthen your courage. You strengthen your intellect. You strengthen the gods within, the antibodies, your body. You strengthen that. And through chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo and strengthening yourself, you're better not only for the coronavirus, you're better in life. Anyway, I am Anthony Elmore, President and founder of the Proud Black Buddhist World Association. Thank you very much.